Hey, we're going to Japan, visiting some amazing places in 3 weeks, eating some delicious food, going to a sumo tournament, visiting the Nintendo World in Universal Studios Japan, going to a baseball game, and so much more. And the best part is that we are taking you along for the journey. Let's go! Did you really think I'm gonna just drop you off as baggage? No. I'll take you with me. Let's go! Honey?
Hello Kitty. Can it be more Japanese than this?
No. Welcome to Osaka. This is our first day here, and after a 20-hour-long trip, the only thing we need to do is get over jet lag, visit some markets, some shrines. And for example, here in a shrine, we bought some udon noodles. Because Japan, right? Let's go. Osaka is considered as the kitchen of Japan, and even if you take your day easy like we did, it is still super simple to keep filling your belly with delicious treats. Fresh onion. If you've been watching this channel, you'll know that we just love to get lost in side streets. And as we explored Osaka's electric town, we stumbled upon a peculiar web of tiny streets lined with unique shops and cafes. An interesting island in the sea of high-rise buildings full of electric goods and anime merch, and of course, gacha machines. We don't have this one yet. I'm gonna make my wife go crazy every single day I press this. Going to the Kuromon market to sample many different food items is always on our itinerary anytime we visit Osaka. This time, however, the market was a bit more crowded than we remembered, and it's no surprise that it is popular among visitors of Japan, but we decided to try and grab something to eat on one of the close-by streets instead. And boy, was that the right choice! És érzem az életből az ebit. Where are we going?
Shopping!
Yay! One of our favorite areas in Osaka is around Namba and Dotonbori, especially because, you guessed it, food. And no visit is complete without picking up some takoyaki balls, steaming hot batter with octopus filling inside. This area truly comes to life in the evening as the large advertisements and mechanical billboards illuminate the streets. Even if we've been here many times, it's always a joy to wander around and find new details or revisit some favorite corners. But the best has to be the seemingly unlimited food you can get here. Before closing the day, we still had some energy to walk over to Shinsekai, another popular area in Osaka, famous for the food. But this time we only enjoyed the illuminated streets since we were already full after a long day packed with delicious moments. We were super excited for day 2 as this was the day we were going to the Sumo tournament. But we had a few hours before that, so we headed down south to visit the Sumiyoshi Grand Shrine. Located in the peaceful suburbs of Osaka, it was a really pleasant experience to explore the grounds of this Shinto shrine. The main star here is obviously the large red bridge, known as Taikobashi, especially with the large trees surrounding it and its reflection in the pond it arches over. But there are many other nice buildings and details here that make the short trip down here definitely worthwhile. Our first Lucky Charms. This one belongs to my wife because it's cute. And this one is a tiger because according to Chinese zodiac signs, my year is the tiger's year. Maybe that's why I'm a fan of the Hanshin Tigers as well. Before heading back to the city center, we spent some time walking around this charming suburban area. Are they hot?
Nagyon meleg.
Oh, that's nice.
George. Ta-da!
Korokke desu.
Majd most kiderül, hogy what's inside.
It's a regular potato croquette, basically. I just love the vibe of the Japanese outskirts. Not just because they have many of these peaceful shotengais, these shopping streets, but they have cheap korokke, 80 yen. This would have cost like 180 yen maybe in the city. Here, it's so cheap and nice as well. Back at Namba, we still had some time for the tournament to start, so we visited one of the most unique shrines in the area, and I think you can easily spot what's so unique about it. Then we finally entered the Edion Arena of Osaka, where the sumo tournament was held. We started by purchasing a few supporting items of some of our favorite wrestlers, some snacks and drinks, and then took our seats as the lower division matches started. We've been invested in sumo for some time now, but couldn't imagine it will be so much fun to watch a tournament live. It's a really interesting and unique sport, especially if you can root for some of the wrestlers together with the crowd. Just listen to our reaction as one of our favorite Rikishi took the stage for his bout. It was an absolute blast to see an event like this in person, and there was no better way to end such an eventful day than by challenging ourselves at a small local izakaya restaurant without an English menu and to try to get some tasty food and drinks.
Good morning. Getting tickets to the sumo was actually really difficult because they are in high demand. They go on sale during the early night morning hours where we live in Hungary. But it was a really cool experience if you get to know sumo better and if you do enjoy, this kind of sport and sympathize with some of the people there, you will definitely have a great time. We absolutely did. It was actually one of our bucket list items. And another bucket list item that we will do today is, here, Universal Studios Japan. Let's go!
I have never been to a theme park like Universal Studios or Disneyland before, and while I was always curious what visiting one would be like, it was only after Super Nintendo World opened up when I finally decided I had to go. So there we were in Universal Studios Japan, and let me tell you, it was an interesting experience. The level of detail they put into the environment is just astonishing. Anywhere you go, there is something to look at, or someone you've grown up watching just walks by or pops up for a performance and a photo opportunity. But even if the areas are spacious, there are a lot of people, and it was only a Tuesday. So what do all those people in the theme park do? Well, they stand in lines, but it's hard to show footage of that because Universal Studios does an excellent job to hide them. Even for basic and simple rides, there are huge lines hidden from your sight.
I just wanted to check out where are they hiding all the crowds standing in line. They are there, and there's a lot of people there, even for this.
The first thing we checked out was Minion Mayhem, because my producer is obsessed with minions, but we call them Minion in Hungary. I have absolutely no idea what we're getting ourselves into. Let me try and demonstrate what the experience was like. We sat in a futuristic vehicle that was raised into a dome where an action-packed 3D footage starring Gru and the rest of the crew was aired, and our vehicle was moved according to the footage. Simple, but effective, because this was our reaction after we left the ride.
This is not fortunate.
And then we finally made our way to Super Nintendo World. I got myself the expensive armband and headed into the Mushroom Kingdom. I was back to being a child, but this time there was no TV screen between me and the world of Super Mario. I was there. Surrounded by the blocks and question marks, characters of the game walking around. It was like a dream come true for me. Thanks to the armband I bought, the world around me became even more immersive as I could interact with the different items and uncover secrets. And with that, I collected points as the soldier in the army of our General Toad. We tried out the rides like Bowser's Mario Kart Race and Yoshi's Adventures, which was mainly aimed at kids, but I didn't care. It was super cute. And of course, I couldn't resist buying some items at the gift shop. All in all, I will not lie, I had a lot of fun in the Super Nintendo World because I am passionate about Mario and his adventures, but there are just so many people in this park. You need to wait for very long times. I mean, it was on average 2 hours to wait for the flying dinosaur roller coaster anytime we passed by. And even for smaller rides, the wait times were significant. Oh, and of course the food. Let's not forget about the food. Theme park food is often noted as overpriced garbage, but I will be honest, all the food we had here was pretty nice. Overpriced indeed, but not garbage at all. So in the end, crowd and wait times aside, it was fun. If you are a fan of some of these franchises, there's a lot of joy in visiting a park like this. After an intensive day, we took the Shinkansen to escape the busy city and find some peace elsewhere. But as the weather wasn't in our favor, the day became a bit more adventurous.
So, today is the plan.
The plan is, we came to Himeji to check out a mountain with a lot of shrines. And the weather isn't really good and the wind is blowing heavily, but that doesn't mean that it blows our enthusiasm away. By the way, this umbrella, we got it from the bus driver who took us here. Really cool. This is why we love Japan.
Why are you yelling?
For a bit of context, Originally, we wanted to take a ropeway to the mountain, but due to the risky weather, they shut down the operation. However, at the tourist info spot, we were told that we can hike up the mountain. They just forgot to mention that the rain will make it slightly more difficult. But we were committed to visit one of the most atmospheric temple complexes in Japan, Engyoji of Mount Shosha.
Today's weather is ridiculous. There has been rain, there has been wind, and it still kinda rains, but look, the sun is also blessing us. The
temples of Engyoji are scattered in a forest, and each of them have their own unique characteristics. It's popular thanks to the peaceful ambience the place is surrounded by, but also because Steven Spielberg shot many scenes for the Last Samurai movie here, and other samurai-themed movies and TV shows are often using the area as their sets. And difficult hike aside, it was a really relaxing experience to wander around and discover the many nice and simple buildings of the mountain. Himeji, where Engyoji is located, is famous for another thing, however. The beautiful Himeji Castle, also known as the White Heron, thanks to its distinct white color and elegant architecture. Looking at this footage, you wouldn't believe that a storm was about to hit us, but it did. So we headed into the castle to explore it until the rain went away, and there was even rainbow when it finally did. Outside, we were greeted by bright blue skies, and we could marvel once again at the gorgeous Himeji Castle before heading back to the station to end our adventurous day.
To bid farewell to Osaka, at least for a few days, because we are going to another city with the bullet train. That means to get some ekiben. Amazing.
Traveling long distances with the bullet trains in Japan is an experience on its own. We really enjoy the views we get as we speed through the countryside, and also having some nice meals along the way makes any trip with the Shinkansen great, especially because Japan's major railway stations are full with food specifically for train travels.
Before arriving at Hakata Terminal, the train arrival time is 6.
Ez a sponge cake, meg a cheesecake szerelem gyerekek.
Space in the back for oversized baggage.
I understand the hype.
Passengers.
Mi jön hír?
Because apparently there's no better way to start our trip here in Hiroshima than putting on some more leg muscle. Yay for stairs! Let's go!
And working on those leg muscles was absolutely worth it, as our path up the nearby mountain led us to a really scenic spot with a small shrine and a gorgeous view of the city. Exploring the mountain along with the Peace Pagoda at the top and the small streets spiraling downwards was an excellent way to start our stay in Hiroshima. It made us more excited for the city, so we headed straight into the center to visit some of the important sites, starting with Hiroshima Castle. It was kinda poetic that after a cold day of rain coming and going, wind blowing most of the time, the sun came out just as we arrived to the Hiroshima Peace Park. I always wanted to visit this place because I feel we need to keep reminding ourselves of the horrors we as humans are capable of, but also to see how we can stand up and recover, like how this bustling city and its people did. Naturally, after so much exploring, we got hungry, and one of Hiroshima's famous local dish is their own style of okonomiyaki. They also have a multi-story building called Okonomimura or Okonomi Village with countless restaurants serving the famous dish. And this was probably one of the most memorable food experiences of our journey. Nothing fancy, just shoulder rubbing with locals and tourists, having a few drinks and marveling at how this chaotic process becomes this delicious dish known as okonomiyaki right in front of you. The next day we were finally blessed with excellent weather, so we headed over to the famous Miyajima Island. It is a super popular place thanks to the iconic red torii gate that floats on the water as the tides come, and the many wild deer that roam the streets freely waiting for a snack from the visitors or just chilling in the warm sunshine.
Itadakimasu.
Nice.
Interesting. I don't like the texture.
It has the texture of a fish. Some sea creature.
You can eat it.
Sauce is nice. Texture is nice. Flavor is nice. Weather is nice.
Okay, shut up.
Amazing. I shut up now.
Much better than the oyster. So sexy.
Right next to the 5-story pagoda, there's an open pavilion where you need to take your shoes off when entering, and walking on these old wooden floors in socks is one of the most relaxing experiences you can get, and it's also a good way to chill after the crowds at the red torii gate. We've been walking so much lately that it's best to buy a charm that is basically defending our legs, our feet. We originally planned to go to the top of the island's mountain with the ropeway, but since that is also a very popular destination among visitors, the lines for the ropeway were way too long, so we just explored the Momijidani Park before heading back to the town to visit some more shrines.
Jaj! Jaj! Cuki vagy.
On our way, however, we stumbled upon a sign that promised nice food and great views, so we had to take a detour to check out if this promise was true or not. If we would have went to the ropeway, we would have basically missed out on this glorious view with some nice udon. Let's dig in. We then returned to the original plan and visited the Daishoin temple before closing our day at Miyajima Island. And let me tell you, it was one of the best days we had on our trip, even if not everything went according to plan. We had to make a detour in the morning because trains weren't running, got much later to the island than planned, and we couldn't go up the mountain due to the many delays. In the morning, I was frustrated, but in the end, this day proved that there's no point in stressing about how your travels go and what the plan is. Sometimes you just have to go with the flow and enjoy the moments you get. And delays and failed plans aside, today we made a lot of great memories. Our luck with the weather completely went away for day 7, but it didn't stop us from taking a trip to the nearby city of Onomichi. It is a small port town surrounded by hills and slopes that are covered in old-fashioned neighborhoods and a maze of tiny narrow streets. And within this intricate web of streets and houses, there are many shrines and temples that are connected by the so-called Temple Walk of Onomichi. As we love to explore and discover the unique characteristics of Japanese shrines, we were really excited to use this walk as our way to learn about Onomichi. And the laid-back atmosphere of the small houses, cute shops, and themed streets made our adventure even more exciting.
Melonpan.
Melonpan.
Milyen kis pici. Itadakimasu.
Despite all the nice shrines and the cute small town vibe, the city isn't on the top of many travel itineraries. We barely met fellow travelers on our journey, and each local passing by greeted us with curiosity and a smile for taking the time to visit their hometown. Besides the temple walk, there is another local thing Onomichi is famous for: its own take on ramen. And that warm bowl of soup was the perfect way to warm our bodies and souls on this cold and rainy day before heading back to Hiroshima. In the evening, we visited a small neighborhood right next to Hiroshima Station, nestled between the high-rise buildings with many small bars and restaurants called Ekinishi, literally meaning west of the station. The place felt like it was left there as a memory of what the city may have been like 50 years ago, but in reality, it hosts a lot of new and cool bars, along with some old school ones as well. It took us some time to find a free space, so if you are interested, perhaps either book a table or wander around patiently like we did. The following day, we headed once again to Hiroshima port to take a speedboat over to the Shikoku Island and visit Matsuyama. As we were making our way through the shopping street of the city, we stumbled into some sort of a festival, with many different mascot characters roaming around and performances being held. We then stopped in a cafe for some food, and one dish from Japanese books and media that was mind-boggling for us was the Napolitan, a simple pasta dish popular in such cafes. So we took the opportunity to try it, and we were definitely not disappointed. The city of Matsuyama is famous for its castle in the center. That's one of the 12 remaining ones in Japan with their original main keep intact. From all the castles we have visited over our travels, I have to say, this one was one of the most fun to explore. There are many interesting historical items on display, plus there are different ways to interact with objects, like how heavy a sword was back in the day, or what it was like to defend the castle with a rifle. The prefecture of Ehime, where Matsuyama is located, is also famous for its citrus fruit called mikan, and the popular gimmick is that you can get fresh mikan juice from a tap.
マックスまでどうぞ。はい。
大丈夫。Elég. あ、いえいえ。
表面張力。はい、どうぞ。はい。はい、どうぞ。はい、ありがとうございます。
ありがとう。
Everything here is about mikan. Even the local mascot is inspired by the fruit and is called Mikian. Another popular area in Matsuyama is Dogo Onsen, famous for the hot thermal waters and the iconic bathhouse that partially served as an inspiration for the bathhouse in the Spirited Away animation that also won an Oscar. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to fully soak ourselves in hot spring waters, but we could take a brief break at a free foot bath with a nice view.
It's time to bid farewell to Hiroshima and move to another new headquarters to the Kyushu Island, to a town that is famous for its hot thermal waters. Let's go, ikimasu!
As Hungarians who are blessed with some excellent thermal waters across our country, we were really excited to spend a few days in a town in Japan that's one of the capitals when it comes to hot springs. And as soon as we stepped off from our train, we immediately started to feel a gentle smell of sulfur in the air. We could even take a quick foot bath in thermal waters as we waited close by to our hotel until our room was available. And from all the hotels we visited during our trip, this was the one we were most excited for. Not just because of the size and the feeling of tatami mat under our feet, but because this room had its own thermal bath right on the balcony. Normally in Japan, bathhouses have separate pools and areas for male and female guests, but this way we could enjoy the hot thermal waters together along with a peaceful view of the sea. Soaking ourselves so much in the hot waters naturally made us hungry, so for the evening we took a walk around the neighborhood and went for an izakaya-style restaurant to try various flavors before closing the day and prepare ourselves for the adventures coming.
Where are we going?
We are going to visit the 7 Hells of Beppu today. I can already smell the wonderful hell smell of thermal water. Let's go!
The city has so much thermal water deep within the ground under it that some of those hot springs have been turned into attractions known as the 7 Hells of Beppu, and visiting all of them is a complete day program of its own. Each of these hells have a different vibe and a different hook, but it's all about the steaming hot thermal waters and how you can interact with them. Since these waters are super hot, you cannot bathe in them, but for example, you can eat certain food items that are made with the hot steams generated.
Onsen tamago desu.
It's an egg.
It's nice. Egg is good. I like egg. And this is special. And it was only 100 yen.
És csak 280 yen volt? Nagyon jó.
We've spent most of our day exploring the various hells, enjoyed the views of the steaming hot waters, and had fun with the different experiences they offered. And of course, we got hungry in the process, so we tried a local specialty of the prefecture called dango jiru, a soup with a unique noodle, which can also be served with some soy powder. Even though we read a lot about Beppu as we were preparing for our trip, we barely found anything about our next destination. Kifune Castle only showed up on Google Maps as we were looking closely for places to visit, and since we love Japanese castles, we simply had to visit this one too. And the experience we had was fun and surreal at the same time. We were guided by the local staff and received an explanation about the history of the castle, which is the home to a highly regarded snake. And I cannot make this up, but together with the other few visitors, we also participated in a ceremony praising that snake.
Okay. No bite, no bite.
I read somewhere that these Jigoku hells are kind of more touristy and some people might not like them. But in all honesty, even though not all of them were super exciting, I really enjoyed visiting all 7. It was a fun day. And now, let's take some hot baths before heading out to the city and enjoy its nightlife.
Close to our hotel, there was a whole neighborhood filled with all kinds of restaurants. It appeared to be a very popular area, as it took us quite some time to find a place with free seats. At the restaurant, which had some available spots, we were told by the staff that their most popular dish is a duck soup, which is flavored with the prefecture's favorite citrus fruit known as kabosu. It was a delicious heaven after a day of having fun in the 7 hells of Beppu.
Good morning! The deities have blessed us with excellent weather, so it's time to go somewhere into nature and visit a small city called Yufuin. And the U there also means onsen, so hopefully maybe we can do some foot bathing there. Thanks for the great weather. By the way, today morning I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning because we could see finally a sunrise from the hotel room. It was excellent. But let's go to the station and go to Yufuin now.
Within the mountains of Oita Prefecture, you'll find the small town of Yufuin, which is a very popular destination for visitors of the region thanks to the scenic views surrounding it. It is also a very hip and cool place because of all the different kinds of shops lining up one after the other on the main shopping street.
No. They reuse these cups. Don't crush them. Just not throw away.
Japan has many themed shops, restaurants and cafes that showcase some popular characters, and you'll find a lot of them here, like the shop focusing on the animations of Studio Ghibli, Miffy the Rabbit, or Snoopy for example. But if you are just looking for some handcrafted goods or souvenirs, you'll definitely find something special in one of the shops here.
Look at me.
Tök jó. Ilyen zöld nyűnyű van a betűseiben.
Green mustard, yes.
Tök
Green.
érdekes, vagy nem tudom mihez hasonlítani az ízt. Tök jó.
Very nice flavor. Let's eat the rabbit.
Mennyi ankó van benne.
At the end of the shopping street, there is a small pond with a torii gate standing in the water, and during our visit, a few birds proudly modeled for our footage and photos. From here, we wanted to leave the crowds behind a bit and stepped off the usual tourist path. We walked along fields, stumbled upon some shrines, one of which was surrounded by glorious large trees. After the crowded shopping street, it was really nice to have some peaceful and quiet time here, but as soon as we got hungry, we headed back to the popular area to try another local dish, which incorporated the kabosu citrus fruit.
Look how flat the udon is.
Nagyon finom ez a broth.
On our way back home, we remembered that during the morning, the announcer at Beppu station called out the name of the station in a very funny way, so we wanted to record that for our amusement.
That's why we're recording.
Oh my god, you're so smart.
But that was a male voice this time.
Igen, de ezt esküszöm, azt hittem, hogy ezt te mondod.
No, it wasn't me.
This was our last evening in Beppu, and as a farewell dinner, we went for ramen and tsukemen, which is a version of the popular noodle dish where you use a thick broth as a dipping sauce. And yes, both were just as delicious as they looked. Hey, today we are taking a trip over to Fukuoka, where we will be staying for a few more nights before heading back to Osaka. This day was very simple for us. Arrive in Fukuoka, drop our luggage at the hotel, and then head out to the Canal City shopping mall, which hosts the so-called Ramen Stadium. Many of the ramen restaurants of Fukuoka have a representative establishment here, so it's a really cool place to try the many versions of the famous tonkotsu ramen, which happens to be one of my favorite types of the dish.
Good morning! The weather is amazing! I am wearing shorts and we are visiting the outskirts of Fukuoka. Let's go to Dazaifu.
The city of Dazaifu used to be an important governmental and political town in Japan's ancient history. Today it is an ideal day trip destination from Fukuoka with an important Shinto shrine as one of the main attractions. Legend has it that an important poet and scholar who died in exile was carried here by an ox, but the animal could not carry the body further, so he was buried here and the shrine was erected over the grave.
Thank you.
Mindent megsimogattam, hogy semmim ne fájjon.
Így.
It is also said that a plum tree came to life and flew here from the place the poet was exiled from to reunite with the person who wrote many poems about plum trees. After exploring the area and enjoying the views of the blossoming trees, we sat down for a meal at one of the tea houses. And not only did the food taste excellent, but thanks to our limited Japanese knowledge, we had a very memorable experience as well.
So, I just told the lady that I love the umeshu they have and they don't sell it. But she gave me another bottle she got from somewhere.
Yes,
from
they
a shrine.
They sell it at the shrines. Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
So we got a free bottle of umeshu.
Amazing.
Can the day be any better?
This is why you should be nice to people
Yes.
and also know a little bit of the language they speak here, because
Yes.
we asked them about the umeshu in Japanese. and they were so happy about it.
The
We
lady
got
was
free
so
alcohol.
nice. I got free alcohol.
After returning to the city of Fukuoka, we took a walking route in Hakata Old Town that guided us from shrine to shrine in the historic area of the neighborhood. Similar to the temple walk we did in Onomichi, it was really pleasant to explore the shrines and see the unique ways they were different from each other. Fukuoka is famous for its food, but not just the tonkotsu ramen. There is a culture of eating at food stalls on the streets, and the most scenic spot for the stalls, which are called yatai, is at the banks of the Naka River. Fair warning though, it is a super popular place among the visitors, but if you just walk a bit further away, you'll still find excellent stalls offering delicious treats and a pretty unique experience.
Szerintem eddig ez a legjobb kőzó, amit ettünk.
Yes.
Nem?
Yes.
Igen. Ohio!
Good morning. It is a brand new day, and yesterday we explored most of Hakata's old town's shrines, except for one. So we're gonna go to Kushida Jinja, which will be the first Jinja shrine that we'll check out today, and then go to a market. Let's do this.
The past few days were a bit more intensive for us, so we wanted to take it easier this time. From all the different shrines of Hakata Old Town, Kushida Jinja is one of our favorites. It is nicely detailed, yes, but what really catches our eyes here and makes this our favorite is the thick straw rope called shimenawa, which is common at Shinto shrines. On our way to our next destination, we wandered into the Sumiyoshi shrine, where we found the statue of the ancient sumo wrestler, whose palms show the Japanese sign for power, and by rubbing both hands, you may get a good luck.
Do you feel the power?
I feel the power.
We then headed over to the Yanagibashi Rengo market, where we originally wanted to grab some food, but nothing really caught our eyes and prices were a bit more expensive too, so instead of eating there, we headed over to one of our favorite Japanese chain restaurants, Koko Ichibanya, where we had some delicious Japanese curry. Continuing our laid-back day, we took a break in the nearby Japanese garden of Ohori Park, where they regularly flood the main pond with steam, covering the garden in a mystical fog. The thing that makes Ohori Park unique is that most of it isn't really a park at all, as it is mainly a large lake, but a few islands in it create a path across the water. It's a really nice and peaceful area where you can not only rest a bit, but also get up close with some friendly turtles as well. Outside of the park, we noticed a large gathering, so we went to check it out. Japan has a culture of going out with friends and family and enjoying the blossoming flowers together, which is known as hanami. It looked fun, so we decided to return another day. For the evening, we headed into town once again to explore more of the Yatai Stalls of Fukuoka and close the day with some nice meals. The next day we traveled south to the city of Yanagawa, a place that has earned the name the Venice of Kyushu because of its extensive network of canals that were historically used to support agriculture and trade in the area. One of the activities that visitors can participate in is a tour of the city via the canals by boat. But first we had to visit the local shrine and to try to get some good luck for our further travels.
Let's fish for some good luck. Kawai. And the verdict is that I don't know. Small. I will say I have small luck.
The boat rides take about 70 minutes, and during the trip, the skilled boatmen share the history of the city, explain the backgrounds of some of the important buildings, and what life in Yanagawa is like. And during the experience, you can grab some snacks and even some alcohol.
Kanpai.
It may be a bit of a tourist-focused activity, but thanks to the well-prepared boatmen, it's still fun to participate in this tour, and the icing on the cake has to be the parts where they sing some old songs their ancestors sang as they traveled across these waters. Thanks to the intricate network of canals, the area is ideal for freshwater eel. You know, the one that Ross, in an episode of the comedy series Friends, liked to shout out loud. So we had to try the local specialty of unagi no seiromushi, which is grilled and steamed eel on top of rice. The sweet sauce covered eel tasted amazing, and it paired really well with a nice cold shochu, a distilled drink popular in the region.
I had shochu, which is a liquor. And
Two. You had two. You had two.
I had sake, nihonshu, on the boat, which was fun. And then for the food, shochu, which was even funner.
Funner.
If such a word exists.
Once we returned to Fukuoka and the sun has set, we headed back to the cherry blossom viewing spots of the city to enjoy a bit of hanami of our own.
Hello, today we are visiting the great city of our Lord and Savior, Lord Kumamoto himself.
Kumamoto is famous for its castle that was devastated in the 2016 earthquake, but before heading straight to it, we wanted to get a unique perspective of this iconic landmark.
If you wish to have an unobstructed view of the castle, the trick is to go to the Metropolitan City Hall, top floor, the 14th floor. It's for free, it's a nice observatory, and from here we can just walk to the castle and enjoy it to its fullest.
We have been to Kumamoto once in 2019, just a few years after the earthquake hit the region. At that time, not much of the castle could be visited as it was ongoing renovation, but we still wanted to support the city and the reconstruction with a visit here. Now we have returned to see how the renovation was going and to check out the parts of the castle that are once again open to the public. It's one of the most impressive castles in Japan, however it was a very unlucky one over its history, and this wasn't the first time it required significant repair works. Its inside shows it's a modern building which hosts a museum detailing the history of the region and the castle itself. Perhaps the interior wasn't as fun as Matsuyama Castle was, for example, but it still provides excellent views as you explore its surroundings, and to be fair, I just love to look at Japanese castles from as many angles as possible. As you explore Kumamoto, you'll definitely notice that the prefecture's mascot is everywhere around here, even in shrines, and also as food, which we naturally had to try for ourselves.
Moki, we finally have Kumamoto. It's time to eat. Mitől ilyen jó náluk a custard cream?
Know how to make good custard cream.
Jó. Nagyon finom. Oishi Kumamon.
Besides the castle, Kumamoto also has a famous Japanese garden, the Suizenji Jojuen. We had excellent weather when we arrived, and were absolutely lucky to catch some of the nice blossoming trees. We headed back to Fukuoka then, and the question we had for ourselves was, did we have enough ramen yet? No, the answer was no, so we got some ramen for dinner, and since this was our last night in Fukuoka, we wanted to grab a few souvenirs before we left the next day.
That place may have looked like a convenience store, but it was actually a souvenir shop. The souvenir shops here at train stations are just immaculate, superb. I love the way that they think about souvenirs as food you take home and have a taste.
Omiyage.
Yes. The day has come. We'll go back to Osaka for our final days of this trip. And I cannot be more excited for this last leg because we will be also attending the Hanshin Tigers Baseball game. Yay! Let's go to Osaka.
On the Shinkansen, I could finally taste one other local specialty of Fukuoka, the mentaiko, which is a spicy pollock roll. Doesn't sound nice, but it was really delicious. In Osaka, we took things a bit slow once again and only visited a park for some hanami activities and to grab our favorite local dish, the takoyaki balls.
Taking a full bite of takoyaki is not advised for those who don't know how hot it is.
It's digestible.
By the way, if you are interested in what an average Japanese hotel is like, this is what our room was like. We usually try to get rooms where we have just enough space for the luggage, and the bathtubs aren't super long, but at least they are nicely deep.
The weather today is definitely not ideal. It was heavily raining when we left the hotel, but that should not stop us to enjoy the day and maybe have a look at some nice lovely shrines. Let's go!
We started the day in the Tennoji area of Osaka at the shrines of Shitennoji. Sightseeing on a rainy day may not be our favorite, but at least we took things slow, and this gave us a bit more time to admire and appreciate the architecture of these temples. The highlight of the day had to be the baseball game. I was always fascinated by how much the Japanese love baseball, and the way they present it made me also interested in the sport. And I've been a fan of the Hanshin Tigers ever since I read about the curse of the Colonel. During the 80s, as the fans celebrated the first championship of the team, they threw a statue of KFC's Colonel Sanders into the Dotonbori River because it looked like one of their star players. And for almost 40 years afterwards, they never won a championship. But last year, they finally got rid of that bloody curse. and their fans are so passionate that attending a baseball game of the Tigers is on a completely different level, even by Japanese standards.
Only 2 more days to go. The weather is becoming more and more blessed. And especially tomorrow we will be blessed with some sunshine. Then we're gonna go and watch some cherry blossoms. But today we watched some fish at the aquarium. And look, there's a bunch of people there on the side of this building. What?
When the Osaka Aquarium opened in the 90s, it was the largest public aquarium in the world. Now I know that zoos and aquariums can be a bit controversial, but I also feel that there is a need to bring such animals closer to people, and especially children, and to educate everyone about the diverse life of our planet and how fragile it is. And the world of the sea is so much different than what we mostly encounter in our dry domains that it almost feels like observing life on another planet. That feeling becomes even stronger as you reach the main aquarium in the center of the building and see the star of the facility swim by next to you, the whale shark. You immediately feel small next to these majestic creatures, and to think that there are even larger animals living with us on this planet is just mesmerizing. I know that keeping animals away from their natural habitat may not be ideal, but from what I read, the staff at the Osaka Aquarium do their best for the animals here and do extensive research work in the world of the sea to educate us more and to raise awareness of how we can easily destroy the life that brings a smile on our faces here. Now I know it may be a bit paradoxical, but after the aquarium we visited a mall nearby that had a retro area with some old school diners, and we had tuna sashimi. Yes, I just marveled at the beauty of life in the sea, and now I'm eating fish. Yeah, but it was delicious. By the way, as you explore Japan, you'll notice these plastic foods on display at restaurants. It's a cool way to imagine the dish you'll get, and some shops even sell these as souvenirs. So once we found one, we had to buy something, because nothing is better than having a keychain that looks like real food.
Welcome to our final day here in Japan, the last day of our 3 weeks long trip. And we're gonna end it the same way as we started it, by going to the middle of Osaka for some nice street food and also do some shopping. It's fresh, it's hot, and it's uncle. So let's go.
Úristen, mennyi ankó van benne.
So much uncle.
Throughout our trip, we witnessed the cherry blossom season, arriving in Japan with more and more flowers covering trees each day. And we were excited to finish our travel with a visit to the garden of Osaka Castle, which is a prime hanami spot. But first we headed to the Sennichimae Doguyasuji shopping street, which is lined with shops full of kitchenware. If you enjoy cooking Asian dishes, need some excellent Japanese knives, like the nicely decorated tableware, or just want a bit of Japanese design in your dining area, this is a great place to shop. One other place we frequent on our travels for souvenirs and gifts for friends is the Don Quixote store. They have all the wacky flavors of Kit Kat, Japanese snacks and sweets, and all kinds of small gifts you can take home. Then, as the sun has set, we arrived to Osaka Castle's garden, a popular location to enjoy the cherry blossom season, with the iconic landmark of Osaka being illuminated in the background. A truly gorgeous ending for our epic 3 weeks long journey in Japan. Good morning. It's time for us to head back to Hungary. These were an amazing 3 weeks, but were they too long or were they too short? Well, we certainly did almost all of the stuff that we had on our bucket list, and I'm sure that if we come back, there's still a lot more to do here. Hopefully you guys join us on that video as well when we come back to Japan, and in the meantime, make sure to subscribe to see more content like this and also about Hungary. Now let's go for a 20-hour flight and say bye all together. Bye!